Right, all praise unto Yahweh Shemi Al Shai, double honors the apostles of GMS, honest you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Okay, this is an article I got from some brothers and they were passing it around in the chat. Alright, and basically you're seeing the and I'll read the article and I'll make some pointers on it. But this comes in the wake of what you had known as the so-called Brexit. Now, I don't think the two things are independent of one another. I think that, in the wiping of 2 trillion off the global economic market, that's going to be greater than that. It's going to be a lot more money that ESO, them fiat currencies and all of that in mind. That is so-called lost of the so-called global market, right? Now, what they're starting to present, and remember how this whole Brexit thing started off. It always starts off as a suggestion. It always starts off very simple, very easy. Just like how you're seeing this thing here with the Bank of England considering issuing its own digital currency. Now, the Brexit wasn't that considered, okay? Didn't they consider that to start off with, okay? And they do these things to get the mass people on board with it, and they sell you the benefits of the idea. But see now, the disbenefit of this digital currency is what? Okay, you're gonna have the disbenefit of security with it, but the security comes with what? With the RFID chip implantation. Okay, and we know for that RFID chip to be the mark of the beast, and for you to be able to buy or sell with it, you're gonna need a global scale, okay, monetary system that's digitized. All right, and they've got the infrastructure of that digitized currency. Okay, but now they're pushing forth the actual currency in itself, man. All right, and notice it's the Bank of England that set that up, because what did the elders GMS always say, man? Okay, going into the book of Revelations, you had the 3 frogs that came forth out of the beast. All right, one of which is what? One of which was the monetary system, which was the Bank of England, as you see it there. All right. Another one was the war side of things, which America, they'll say, America's suggesting to go to this country to stop this person from committing war crimes against his own people or something like that. And then, in the course of a couple of months, they're already down there with troops all over the place, because it was always the plan in the first place, man. All right, that's the way of this, man. Whenever you see considering and this, that, and the third, it's a foregone conclusion, man. All right, and Rome, of course, which is starting first with the Vatican, which pushes forth all of these different religions that you got out there in the world. All right, so that's very spiritual what you're seeing there. All right, so it says economists at the Bank of England, all right, have suggested central banks introduce their own cryptocurrency, claiming it could create a sizable and long-term jolt for the national economy, right? So they're talking about this on a national scale. This ain't, to compete with Bitcoin and so on and so forth. We always knew this Bitcoin thing, either they was going to use it as a stepping stone, or they was actually going to use it as a chosen currency for the RFID chip itself. Okay, so it says have suggested central banks to introduce their own cryptocurrency, claiming it could create a sizable and long-term jolt for national economies. It says, according to the Bank of England report, a digital currency could boost. All right, listen to that. They said could boost. All right, Salakia. The computer's fucking up, as you would imagine. All right, where was I? Right, so he says could boost economic output by around 3% due to the reduction in real interest rates. Okay, because when you transfer money, of course, currencies and so on and so forth, you're gonna have interest rates and charges and so on and so forth. It says then discretionary taxes and monetary transaction costs, which I just mentioned. All right, and it says then it could also help maintain financial stability and provide policy, right? Provide policymakers with a more effective tool to smooth financial booms and busts. Okay, now let's pause and hold on just a minute right there. Okay, so hold on just a minute right there. They have presented a solution to a problem that's pending. Okay, because there's a lot of information out there talking about how the global economy, right, is on the precipice of one of the largest crashes it's ever had. But they're presenting this as the solution to that. All right, they're presenting this digitized currency as a solution from smooth financial booms, of which we're in a financial boom right now, and then that bust. Okay, so they want to they're so-called showing you how they're gonna iron all of that out. Now, what does that suggest? That means all of these booms and busts, they're creating them so they can bring forth their digitized currency, and that's that's gonna take into full effect what we know today as the RFID chip, but what we know in the scriptures as the mark of the beast. All right, it says it could also help to maintain financial stability and provide policymakers with a more effective tool. All right, with more effective tools to smooth financial booms and busts. It says central banks across the developed world, including the Bank of England and the Bank of Canada, are studying the potential of introducing a digital currency. If they decide to issue a digital cash, which they're gonna do, right, and make it available to the general public, money would exist electronically outside of the banks in digital wallets like physical banknotes. That could radically reshape the present financial system, which is not going to really change much. Like I said, they put the infrastructure out there for contactless payments and a digitized monetary system. So it ain't really going to change much. But people like the smell of change. Right, when you say something's different or something's new, people get excited about that. But ultimately, it's going to bring about their own demise, because the scriptures say anyone that's going to take that chip, all right, which is going to utilize this digital monetary infrastructure that they put forth, anyone that takes that is going to be a partaker of the lake of fire, man. And that lake of fire is going to be the ICBM nuclear missiles hitting this place. Now, here it is. You got dudes within Israel. They're supposed to know these scriptures. They're supposed to understand these scriptures. But really, they ain't preparing that. They're relying on a financial system that even the elites themselves are calling unstable. Okay, because if you want to bring forth financial stability, that means what? This existing system is unstable. Okay, if you're talking about you want to bring forth a smooth financial booms and busts, that means what? That it's not smooth. That means the system that these people trust in, namely IUIC niggas, these purple dinosaurs, and ISUPK, all of them camps that call us the bum camp, they trust in a system that the bankers themselves, okay, dealing with Britain, dealing with that frog, right, that talks about within the book of Revelations, all right, rather more that spirit like a frog, okay, all right, that it speaks about within the book of Revelations. They're calling that unstable. Okay, Esau himself is calling that unstable. All right, so how can you trust in a system like that? All right, but hey, it goes back onto the scripture where the book of Isaiah, where it says, these people basically got gross darkness covering over their eyes. So we can break down these scriptures as until we go blue in the face, but it's just not going to get it, man. All right, it says a central bank issued Bitcoin would help policymakers control the amount of money in the economy, which is not possible at the moment, as commercial banks create money by using deposits as loans rather than increasing their money supply. We're talking about fractional reserve banking. All right, it says making central bank money widely. Central banks issued Bitcoin would help policymakers control the amount of money in the economy, which is not possible at the moment. Because central banks don't do the fractional reserve banking, but the commercial banks do the fractional reserve banking, because you put the money in and they're allowed to issue out up to 90% or something crazy like that, all right, out as loans, and you get all kind of currency. In fact, they say about 80% of the currency that's actually in existence is created by the commercial banks. All right, now you're gonna trust in a system like that? You really can't, man. All right, that means you got a persistent state of devaluation, man. Right, that means your pound or your dollar always goes downhill, man, and it actually goes downhill. How we know is exponentially goes downhill, because you figure you have a dude puts in £10 or $10 into a bank. The bank loans out $9, right, but they loan out $4.50. They loan it out to another individual who does exactly the same thing. Yeah, so it's going to be exponentially, if I'm not mistaken. All right, that's going to be at an exponential decay. All right, I'm trying to work out the math in my head, but that's a different subject for a different day. It says making central, either way, it's going downhill. All right, it's going downhill, man. All right, it says making central banks more widely available could have an impact. Central bank money widely available could have an impact on deposits held at commercial banks and a knock-on effect on the banking system. As the Bank of England said in its research paper last year, explaining that the new digital money would be seen as a cheaper and safer alternative. Hold on a minute here. They're saying the system that they have now is not cheaper, it's not safe. Okay, so they want to bring about this new, cheap, safe, right? And that's how they're selling it to the vast majority of these people. This new, cheap, safe way of having money, man. But all you gotta do is you can put this chip in inside of you, so you can use these digital currencies. Because you got this digital currency, hey, and it's a new thing. Well, you're gonna need a new way of transactions, man. Okay, you're gonna need a new means of transactions. Okay, now I'm gonna read this last little bit and call it a day. It says, I don't see how banks could compete. He says Bloomberg cited that Peter Stelter, right, former central bank head of IMF and director of Stellar Consulting, says the central bank's backed digital money could even contribute to a stabilization of the business cycle. Okay, so they're selling this whole thing heavy, man. All right, they're selling this whole thing heavy, man. And don't be alarmed, all right, if you see this, coming to a store near you, All right, so with that, I'm gonna say, all praise unto Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai, double honestly, Apostle GMS. All right, honestly, brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.